Hi everyone, it's Monica and today I'm going to be making my April TBR. So in April I'm going to be participating in the Owl's Magical Readathon hosted by G over at Book Roast. In this readathon you are able to choose a magical career and each career corresponds to a certain amount of owls that you need to take and each owl corresponds to a subject that corresponds to a prompt that corresponds to a book. So last year I also participated in this readathon. This is the third time that it's happening. Last year I chose to become a Hogwarts professor teaching charms, but this year I decided to go for something a little bit different and I decided to go for wand maker. In order to accomplish this career I need to take 5 owls. But this year there is a lot of things a little bit different, so you are able to make like some extracurricular activities, so I decided to go for some of those. Also, last year, at the time of the owls, I didn't know which career I wanted to pursue, so I decided to try to read all 12 books, so I'm gonna try to do the same thing this year. I don't know how it's gonna go, we'll see. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first owl that I need to take to become a wand maker is Ancient Runes, and the prompt for that is Heart Rune. Choose a book with a heart in the cover or in the title. And for that I decided to go with I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy. There used to be a time in which I knew what this book was about, but I kind of forgot. I think it's about a brother and a sister, and that's pretty much it. Nowadays it's not very common for me to go into a book knowing nothing, so I decided to keep it that way. I'm not going to read the synopsis, I'm just going to go into it knowing not much. So hopefully I like it. I'm very excited about this one. I've been meaning to read it for a long while, so let's see how I like it. The second owl that I need to take is Arithmancy, and the prompt for that is Magical Qualities of Number 2, Balance Opposites. Read something outside your favorite genre. And for that I have Mensagem by Fernando Pessoa. This is a poetry collection by one of the most important Portuguese writers, and I've read it before, I know that I like it, but I wanted to read it again. And it's definitely something outside of my comfort zone because I don't read poetry that often. It's very, very rare. So I'm very excited about this. It's just something that makes me feel more connected to my country in some way, so I'm excited. The next one is Care of Magical Creatures, Hippogriffs. Read a book with a creature with a beak on the cover, and for that I decided to go with The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filler. This one I definitely know nothing about. I picked this up in a bookshop in Northern Ireland, in Londonderry, and I basically just picked it up because the guy in the bookshop was so sweet. He talked to us a lot about Ireland and about what it was to live there, and I just couldn't leave without buying something. So I ended up buying this one. I don't exactly know why, it just felt right. So this one I definitely know nothing about. I hope I like it, honestly, because it's been on my TBR for almost a year now. Second to last, we have Charms, Lumos Maxima, read a book with a white cover. And for that I have chosen The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Brontë. Jane Eyre is my favorite book of all time. I love that book with all of my heart. It's a masterpiece, so I'm very excited to get into it. I must say that it's probably not the best choice for a readathon because it's a classic and those take me a long time to get to, especially because I am not a native English speaker and I'm reading this in English. What I normally do is I read along listening to the audiobook. It gets a little bit easier for me, but still I hope I can get into it quite fast. I don't know, it's quite a chunk book, but let's see. I am really excited about this and I really hope to love it because I love the other Brontë sisters. This is the only one that I haven't read anything from, so I am very excited. I'm very nervous because I really want to love it. Fingers crossed. And the last owl that I need to take in order to become a wand maker is Herbology, Mimbulus Mimbletonia, read a book that starts with an M. And for that I decided to go with Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am so excited about this. Like Daisy Jones and Evelyn Hugo are some of my favorite books of all time. I've read After I Do, and I must say it's not my favorite, but I don't know why. From all of the other books by her, this is one that always caught my attention the most. So I'm very excited. I think I'm gonna really like it. I don't think I'm gonna love it, but I think I'm gonna really like it. So this book follows a point in a girl's life in which she needs to make a decision. She needs to decide to go home with this guy or to not go home with this guy, basically. And you follow those two different paths on her life and what would happen if you choose one or the other. And I think that's so interesting. I often think about that myself, like what if I had made another choice at that certain point of my life, where would I be now? So it's very, I don't know, it's very special for me, this concept, so I really hope I like it because of that. But also, even if I don't really like the plot, like it happened with After I Do, I love Taylor's writing. He's my favorite writer for sure. So I really think that I'm going to like this book just at least a little bit. So those are the books that I need to read in order to become a wand maker. But I decided that I wanted to make Animagus training, and for that I need to accomplish 2 more owls. So the first one is Potions. Shrieking Potion. Read the book under 150 pages. And for that I have Arthur and the Lost City, I believe, by Besson. So this is a series that I read when I was young, and I read the 2 first books, I believe, and I really loved it at that time. I reread the first book recently and I didn't like it at all. This is the second one, but I really want to finish the series. I have all of the books, so why not? So I'm very nervous about this one. So this follows a boy that lives with his grandma. His grandfather disappeared a long while ago, and he discovers, I believe it's a book or something in his grandfather's library, and he discovers that Minimos, I don't know how to say it in English, but that these little creatures exist in his garden, and he basically goes after them in order to save his grandfather and also his grandmother's home. In this book he's already there in the land of the Minimos, I don't know. And yeah, I really thought the first book didn't age properly. It had a lot of problematic things throughout it. I don't know, it's a short one, it's good for a readathon. I decided to pick it up. The second owl that I need to take in order to take my Animagus lecture is Transfiguration, and the prompt for that is Animagus lecture. Read a book with shape-shifting. And for that I decided to go with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So, I know nothing about this book, about what happens throughout the book, but I believe I was spoiled for the ending a couple of years ago, which is very unfortunate. But I had no idea what to choose for this owl. All of my ideas are books that I've read recently, so I didn't want to go for those. So I went into a list that G posted in which you can upload your ideas for each prompt, and I found this one in there. I hope it fits. Second seminar that I want to attend is Legal Defense of Fantastic Beasts seminar. And for that, because I'm already taking my Care of Magical Creatures owl, I only need to complete 1 more, and that is History of Magic. And the prompt for that is Witch Hunts. Read a book that features witches or wizards. And for that, I decided to go with The Power of 5, the first book in the Witch series. This series was my childhood. All I remember when I was a kid was playing with my best friend, that we were them. I was Helene, obviously, because air is my element, and she was, I think she was Will. I think she was the main one. I love this with all of my heart, but it's very hard to find these books around. So I think I have like the first one, the third one, the fifth one, and the 7th one, or something like that. But I really want to get to this. I am so excited. I love these characters so much. I haven't read anything from this series since I was a kid. Even then I never read these books. I read the magazines that came out maybe every week. So I've never actually read this book, and I've had it since I was like 10. So it's very, very special to me. I am so excited about this one, you have no idea. This is so special to me. So I'm excited about this one. Now I have 4 owls left in order to complete all owls. So let's get into those. So the first of the other random owls that I need to take is Astronomy, night classes. Read the majority of this book at night. And for that I decided to go with The Crab with the Golden Claws, I believe. So this is book 9 in the Tintin series. I've been reading those basically in readathons because they're very cool to read in readathons because they're so short. So this series is another one that I used to read a lot when I was a kid. My brother loves it, my dad loves it, I used to love it. Do I love it now? No. But I'm trying to reread all of those. I think there's like 24 or something. I'm on the 9th one. I'm just getting into it. All of the books feel the same. I mean, the characters are very nice. That's the only good thing about this series. I know it was normal at that time, but it's so racist at some points. It makes me uncomfortable. So yeah, I am reading them because they are easy to read. I have them, so why not? But do I like them? Not really, but they are graphic novels. They're easy and short. So. The next one is Defense Against the Dark Arts, and the prompt for that is Grindylows. Read a book set at the sea or at the coast. And for that I decided to go with Erebus by Michael Palin. So me and my dad are complete Monty Python freaks. We are in love with them, basically. So we basically buy every book by them that we can. This one is quite recent. My dad already read it. He said it was very slow at the beginning, then the pace gets like quicker. So let's hope, because I really hate slow-paced books. They are very hard for me to get into. So I'm very scared about this one. I think it is about a story of a ship that disappeared, and it's basically the story of what happened in that ship. I am curious, but I'm also a little bit intimidated with the size. I don't know, especially because it's not my priority, so I really need to be quick with the other ones so I can get to it in time. Let's hope. Second to last, we have Divination. Third Eye. Assign numbers to the books on your TBR and choose randomly. And the book that I got was Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. So, like the other one, this one intimidates me a lot for a readathon because I read Strange the Dreamer. I loved it. I gave it 4.75 out of 5 stars. It was one of my favorite books of last year, but it took me ages to read that book. And this one is probably going to be the same. I'm gonna need to push through it and just get on my chair and read this baby. So I don't know, let's see. I really want to accomplish all 12 owls. I think it's going to be a challenge, but I am going to do my best. I promise. And the last one is Muggle Studies. Read a book from the perspective of a Muggle. So basically you have to read a contemporary, but I didn't choose a contemporary for this one. I chose North Korea Diary, also by Michael Palin. So this is basically him talking about his trip to North Korea and explaining what he saw and his thoughts. So this is definitely a book from a perspective of a Muggle. So I think it's perfect. It's not a contemporary, it's not a fiction, but nonetheless I think it's perfect for this prompt. Also, my dad already read it and he loved it, so I think it's a good sign that I'm going to like it too. Also, I think it's going to be very quick to read because it has a lot of images and the text is quite big. So hopefully this one is no problem at all. Those are all the books that I'm going to be reading in April, but I am also going to participate in another readathon, and that is the Basically Readathon hosted by Brit over at Basically Brit. And this one is going to take place on April 5th. Basically, you need to read TBR Veteran, a book that has been on the TBR for ages. And for that, I decided to go for some of those. I plan to read 3 books during this time. I plan to read Arthur and Minimoise, The Power of 5, and The Crab with the Golden Claws. I think it's doable. They're all very short, but I definitely need to read for the 24 hours of the day, so let's see how that goes. If I have time, I'm probably going to start some other ones, but I don't think I'm gonna have time, so I don't know. Hopefully it will be okay. That's it. Those are all of the books that I'm going to be reading in April. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I really need to accomplish this. I take this very seriously. So that's it, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next one.